press conference just to kind of get it on the record and make sure people have a chance to make their comments. I want to welcome you. My name is Jim Murphy, and I'm a House member from Houston, the author of House Bill 2608. Our bill is being heard today in pensions, so we're excited about that progress. House Bill 2608 would restore local control for the few plans that have made a state the part of their pension process. The theory is simple, that those who enjoy the services of these employees, those who pay the taxes for their services, should also be the ones deciding what sort of benefits to offer. Two things not changed by our bill, and this is very important to get this out there. One is the critical role of the pension review board does not change. We want to make sure that those women, those men who've earned their pensions have systems that are actuarially sound to make sure those funds are needed when the time comes for them to retire. So that's key. The second is we're doing nothing to change the constitutional protections for individuals who are vested in their plans or who have retired. We have a lot of support across the state for this bill. We have some of those people here today, more coming later today to testify, and I want to give them a chance to talk about their perspective, come back in a few minutes to answer your questions. So I think my Senate sponsor, Paul Bencourt, will be speaking next. Paul?
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Representative Murphy. The pension problem is real. In the city of Houston, we have a $5 billion problem. That's the combination of pension and unfunded health care liabilities at this point in time. To tell you what $5 billion means to taxpayers in the city of Houston, it means that their property taxes would have to go up by 50% for 10 years just to pay off that liability. And that liability is growing because these plans are defined benefit plans as opposed to defined contribution plans that when I was tax assessor, I was covered under. It basically means that your benefit is fixed and not and something that the taxpayer has to be very concerned about. So the Senate version of this bill looks at local pension boards' ability to move from defined contribution, from defined benefit to defined contribution as one of the solutions. But the overall theme between Representative Murphy and I is that the pension problem is real. In just Houston alone, it's $5 billion and growing. It's already started to affect the bond municipal ratings in the United States. And especially if you look at the boom town that Houston is and the success that we've had with job growth of the Houston area of over 100,000 new jobs in the last couple of years, it's a sad situation to see our problems on the pension side holding us down, and we need a solution to the pension problem. And I look forward to a great debate and Representative Murphy's witnesses today on the House side, waiting for what I hope is a positive vote out of the House committee. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul.
Hi guys, I'm Representative Phil Stevenson, and I'm on the Pensions Committee. And I'm also a practicing certified public accounting and understand this maybe this a little bit better on especially these defined benefit plans. The reason that I'm supporting this, and I will be one, so we hopefully have to vote this out of the committee, is that I believe strongly the principle is local control. That is the big thing. I asked the city of Fort Worth in a statement on the pensions. They have, their city council does all the final arbitration, and she said yes, other than maybe the lawsuits. I said we're always that. I asked another big city in Texas, they said the state was. I believe the citizens should be the final arbitrator of anything to do with their money. And that's why I'm supporting this bill, 2608, and I thank Representative Murphy for bringing this. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you all for coming. I know that talking public pensions early in the morning is not necessarily everyone's favorite thing, but we have a real situation here when it comes to local control of local retirement systems that are governed by the state. As many of you know, when you look at the state of play right now, you have about a dozen local retirement systems that are governed by the state that have effectively taken local control off the table for community stakeholders. That means that things like benefit levels, contribution rates, the composition of their boards are unable to be affected by those at the local level, those who are supporting those systems. And so why myself and Texas Public Policy Foundation are supportive of measures like HB 2608 and SB 1994 is that they restore local control back to those folks who support those systems. It's a very simple measure, and with that, we express our support for HB 2608.
Thank you. I'm Bill Hammond. I'm CEO of the Texas Association of Business, and I'm here today in support of House Bill 2608. Years ago, city councils across the state made promises that cannot be kept today. Basically, they gave away the house, knowing full well that they wouldn't be serving at the time. They made promises for pensions and health care benefits that will bankrupt major cities across the state. It's not just about Houston, it's about Fort Worth, it's about San Antonio, Galveston, other cities across the state. And this is the first step in untying the Gordian knot. Because what happened was the associations and the unions came to Austin and they got these generous benefits put into the statute. So in order for these cities to reform these promises, we are going to have to allow them to do it. Currently, state law prohibits them from doing it. Representative Murphy, Senator Betancourt's bill would allow the cities to deal with this very serious problem. It's very urgent that this legislation be passed this session. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Julie McWright, and I am here on behalf of Texans for Positive Economic Policy. TPPF, or Lone Star Success, is an online effort started by former Comptroller Susan Combs last year in order to highlight Texas's economic success through strong conservative principles. So this legislation is something that we feel strongly about, that would be another way to highlight or to achieve that economic success. TPPF is wholly committed to allowing local citizens to have at least some control over their municipal retirement systems. We all know that it is the local citizens who pay the most when problems arise with these systems, and they should be able to make certain that they can make certain decisions and adjustments locally without having to go through the state legislature. Thank you.
Lance Christensen, Director of the Pension Reform Project at Reason Foundation. We travel the country advising governments, stakeholders, and other interested parties on pension reform. And this is not a unique discussion in Texas, it's happening across the country. And often as we talk about pension reform, we discuss things like bankrupt Detroit or Vallejo, California. But we'd argue that there's actually a deeper, more devious problem, that is service insolvency, or the crowded effect of a lot of public services that otherwise taxpayers are unable to access because of these huge debt obligations of the pension systems. We believe that as the state relinquishes control of these things and allows governments at the local level to deal with the different assumptions of how things are funded, projected, and governed, that people are better prepared to deal with the fiscal challenges before them and put money for things like schools, roads, and other infrastructure and public safety. We believe that as long as we are in the discussion, we can preserve retirement security for those who've earned it, but also make sure that taxpayers are equally watched over, and it goes in a transparent fashion.
I'm Dean Wright with New Revolution Now. We advocate for limited government, self-governance, individual freedom, and personal responsibility. In respect to the local control of municipal pension funds, HB 2608 reduces the footprint of state government on local governments and removes unnecessary roadblocks and obstacles. We encourage the House Pension Committee members to vote in favor of HB 2608, therefore empowering the local municipalities and their citizens and the right to self-governance. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Cindy Millette. I'm with the Austin Tea Party. And here in Austin, affordability has been one of the big buzzwords. And from our point of view and our members' point of view, that has a lot to do with taxes and tax rate and transparency at the local level. And with this pension crisis, we're looking at potentially seeing bankrupt cities all over the state of Texas if House Bill 2608 is not passed. If we don't restore it back to the people at the local level who who are paying the taxes and who want to have a voice, who want to understand what's going into it, and more importantly, how they can affect change so that it becomes affordable, it becomes manageable, and something that's going to provide for future generations rather than putting a stop to future growth here in the state of Texas. Thank you very much.
And I'm batting cleanup here. I'm Robin Lennon from the Kingwood Tea Party. I'm also a member of the Lieutenant Governor's Grassroots Advisory Board. Statewide, Texas is in a great, prosperous time in this country, but local debt is a problem. I believe we're one of the top three, on the local level, we're the top two, I'm being told from the back. We've got the second highest amount of local debt. And so as a citizen activist trying to handle local debt, it's like being in a round room and told to stand in a corner, because they tell you locally that they can't do anything about it because of the state and the feds. And if you talk to them on the state, they say, well, you do realize it was the local negotiators. So we're asking for local control so that citizen activists can help make Texas as prosperous at the local level as we are at the state. Thank you.
Okay, that kind of wraps it up. You've heard from the think tank folks, you've heard from the grassroots people, business leaders, legislative leaders, pretty broad spectrum. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. If not, we'll adjourn and visit with you afterwards. If you haven't made plans to come to the hearing today for 2608, it's 2 p.m. upon adjournment. We think that'll be a little bit late today, just given what's on the floor. But we'd be delighted to have you there in the Pensions Committee. Thanks for being here.